Hello and welcome back to another episode of Media Munchers. I'm Mathian,
And I'm Adrian.
and we got a new show, Big A. We got Hawkeye to talk about. It's not a show I thought I was gonna be hyped for, but I'm always interested in anything Marvel, so I'm like, let's see it.
Yeah,
I'd stay away from the promos and all that, and I was like, So we'll get to that later, but first I want to check out Pam and Tommy, the trailer. You want to roll it, Big A?
sure thing.
Let's do it. It's a series.
Yeah, I guess like a mini series.
Probably, yeah. I don't see you getting that many big actors for like 13, 26 episodes. Not at all. Probably about 6 to 8 episodes, I would assume.
Yeah.
And they're probably like 40 to an hour each. Because that threw me off at first. I was like, Hulu original. I was like, Hulu's like for TVs and stuff. No, like I don't see them making movies. That's really interesting. I don't know much about the history of like Pamela Anderson. I'm assuming this is based on real life or real events.
Yeah. They showed that in the trailer.
They did. I didn't even bother watching. I was too busy being like starstruck by the talent in this thing.
Yeah, I
was
know
like,
it's stacked.
Nick Offerman, like it's kind of like they're going the buddy route with him and Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth Rogen shaved is like weird. That feels almost like wrong.
Yeah,
but
it's been a while since we've seen him shaved, right?
He looks good. It's been a while since we've seen him shaved. He's always got a beard or something going on. But no, everyone looks great. Sebastian Stan, I couldn't even believe when I saw him. I was like, who is this? Like, that was like really good transformation. I'm really intrigued and excited. I wasn't expecting a show, but that's cool. We need more shows in our lives, Big A. So definitely. I'm down to check it out. It looks like it's gonna be just a bit of comedy, bit of drama, a little bit of high stakes stuff in between. How do you think they got the tapes? Like I don't know any of the history, but like
I don't know. I don't know too much about it.
He's probably I think they're gonna posit him as like some sort of like film crew guy who kind of like follows around like the life of the stars, and then maybe they made their own sex tape by like fooling around with the camera equipment laying around the house or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not that important. We'll find out. But I was just curious. I was like, how do they get in this predicament? Like, how does he have access to those tapes? That's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I'm excited for that. So February 22nd or something I was saying?
I think that's what it said.
Somewhere, sometime in February. All right, I'm down. New content, Big A. Let's check it out. But without any other hesitations, let's get right into Hawkeye episode 1 and 2. But we'll start with 1. I got to say up front, I wasn't like excited to jump into this. Like I really procrastinated to the last minute. Not because like I hate Hawkeye or anything, but I was like in the movies you've only seen so much of him, and so it's a good thing they got a miniseries to like try and flesh him out a bit more, and also set up the next generation. Haley Steinfeld playing Kate Bishop, and she's wonderful. Like I loved her from the start. I was like, okay, yeah, good casting, Marvel. I love it. Like I love her personality and where she's coming from. And we start off in 2012 again, back to the first Avengers movie, and she's one of the kids that got saved, by one of Hawkeye's arrows during the Chitauri invasion. Hate that word. Anyway, and I really like that we didn't have to see a whole bunch of her training and stuff, because I'm like, okay, how, like, she's not a superhero, she didn't get any serum, like how is she doing these things at 22? And that whole opening sequence was really tight.
Yeah, exactly. They pretty much just summed all up
everything. She did like so many different things too. It started off with archery, of course. She needed a bow and arrow, she told her mom. And then of course she went to like I think it was karate or some sort of martial arts, right?
Yeah, I think she had done like taekwondo,
something like that, right?
Archery.
She did gymnastics as well, and fencing.
Gymnastics, yeah.
Really well rounded, like just a fighting machine.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna protect this family, and I was like, word. That's like, I like her motivation. I like that big event spawned that for her. That was cool.
Yeah.
I also like that the episode was titled "Don't Meet Your Heroes." I was like, oh, is this gonna be bad? Like, is he gonna like shit on her or something? All kinds of stuff happens, all kinds of wackiness. We go back to present day, and we see Rogers the Musical. We finally got it, Big A. Bro, it was just as like almost corny and corporate, but like Broadway is possible, and I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was like, this is goofy. I really thought that they were gonna get to Hawkeye's character, and he was gonna be like, oh my god, like this is awful. But he was like really zoned out, and we learned why. It was because he saw someone portraying his best friend, Natasha Romanoff, and I was like, oof.
Yeah, a bit of a flashback sort of
bit of a little PTSD, a little ringing in the ear. And I thought that was another interesting too. I was like, whoa, consequences from all the explosions and shit he's been in. He's got hearing damage in his left ear.
Loss.
Yeah, and it like I think they reflected back. It was either I think it was episode 2 or something, but like it shows a flashback of all the big explosions he's been in. Yeah. I was like, that tinnitus is a bitch, and so is the hearing loss. So I feel him. It's cool seeing him spend time with his kiddos, especially since without them he became like Ronan, the murderer.
Right.
So it's really interesting that all that happened. I think I'm gonna go off on a tangent real quick and say I wish we could see more of his psyche and how he's handling the weight of everything, because he's literally handling the burden, and we'll get into it with the Ronin costume being like fumbled and Kate wearing it and her getting like basically dragged into his past, so to speak.
Yeah.
And him kind of like dealing with that. But we haven't seen much in the mental side with like besides the Natasha Romanoff thing. It's just like, how does he sit and look at his kids the same way after like doing what he did? Like I don't know if he had a code before that, or it didn't really matter. Like,
Mhm.
it was just like numb, mindless killing to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping that they're gonna delve deeper into that.
Yeah, because I love the Kate Bishop setup and exploration. I love her character. I love what they're doing with her. But I'm like,
Yeah,
let's see
yeah,
some more of
exactly.
Hawkeye. Like, it is called Hawkeye. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
whether you retire him or keep him moving forward, like let's use this miniseries to delve into him, and I think we will at some point. Like,
Mhm.
it's bound to happen. Maybe he'll have like a heart to heart with Kate at some point or something.
Yeah.
I didn't bother checking, but are those all the same kids that he had in the previous movies? They look like
You know,
newish actors.
I feel like I misremembered him having a second daughter,
Second
second
son?
daughter rather than a second son. But I guess not. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
we could go back in like maybe Avengers. But Age of
You would know
Ultron was
Age
the
of
first time,
Ultron
right?
is the first time we saw them, and then we saw them again in Endgame.
Yeah, yeah, in
Briefly.
Endgame.
That's so weird. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can definitely look that up while I keep talking, but
Yeah.
it was just interesting. But we get the whole setup with Kate. We learn what she's doing in present day. We saw her like do the whole bell tower thing, which was just hilarious. That whole thing collapsed. I was like, that's a bit comedic. There's no way like it rings normally. You know, why is it gonna break and collapse and the whole tower gets destroyed? And I was like, that's
Yeah.
stupid. But it was a nice shot. We see her skill. Her friends totally bailing her, fake friends, but whatever. So yeah, back in New York, she drops by her mom's house. We have a really like Oliver Queen moment at the beginning, like where like what's going on, and then like the new stepdad shows up, and I was like, oh, nice. I really appreciated that that reference. If it's not a reference, but it felt like that.
Yeah.
This guy just screams like, what's his deal from the beginning? That what's his name? The new stepdad.
Yeah, yeah. He was.
Ah man,
He's very like
he screams
over
sus.
the top almost.
Yeah, he was almost like mustache twirling, literally. Like,
Yeah, a little bit on the nose.
a little too
sort of,
much. And
stepdad.
but another thing too is that when they move on to that little party at the end later, or not in the middle of the show, the little charity event. What was his name? Who has like seven generations? Was it?
Oh right.
Anthrax? Or I'm just kidding. It was something
No,
stupid.
no,
It was like
it was
Anthony. I don't know. Now it's killing me. Armand. It was Armand. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was Armand. And
Yeah.
he seemed really sus. Like, I mean, not sus, but he seemed like kind of creepy. And I was like, is he a bad guy? Like, what's his involvement? Because I was like, who we trying to look out for here? I'm always trying to suss things out. And then he ends up like having a son or a grandkid. He comes up, says hi to her, whatever. And then he learns that he allows Kate to learn that like they're getting married, like the stepdad figure, whatever, and her mom. And then after they go down to the secret underground auction, that's when we learn like a bunch of people are peddling Avengers gear from the like I guess from the results of Endgame with the explosion of the mansion and all that. People looted it, which how, but whatever. And we get Ronan's sword, which is really tight, and somehow I gotta find what's the stepdad's name. It's killing me.
it was
no, you bring it back, Big A. Anyway,
Jack Duquesne.
That's his name.
Duquesne.
Oh,
I can't read. DUQUE.
Jack Duquesne. I don't know. That's weird. But anyway, Jack, stepdad Jack, gets a hold of the Ronin sword.
Yeah.
And that's relevant later because they end up fencing. I think in episode 2, right?
Yeah.
So when she's onto him, the whole place gets like robbed by some people, looted, and then Kate ends up like I love her like playing the waiter. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but I loved her being like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Bill
funny
sent
how
me.
she was kind of like falling into like the role of like tricking people.
Yeah, she's really like it
Yeah.
comes natural to her.
Yeah, yeah. But it was like aloof.
Yeah,
It was funny.
I love that play. Yeah,
It's
her
funny
playing
touch.
yeah, it was good. But she ends up with a Ronin costume on and like showing off her skills and holding her own mostly. I love the use of the set and props. Like the wine bottle's not breaking. And, like just bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam, bam. Like
Yeah, I don't know
batons.
if that's realistic.
I don't know
but-
either. I mean, some of that glass is really hard. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
50-50.
I would think right.
It depends. I don't know how you hit it, how hard you hit it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's gonna bust on one of these guys' heads, right? But I don't think they wanted to deal with blood so much. I don't know.
Probably.
Like or over excessive amount.
Mhm.
And then it gets shot. She dodges a lot of bullets, and that's my whole thing with these archers. I'm like, dude, when you live in a world of guns, like you're gonna get shot eventually. You need to start wearing some gear. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, especially when she crashed in the end of the second episode.
Yeah, and in the second, in like the warehouse,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, bro, what's like? First of all, what's up with your spleen or your spine or like you had a broke of something? But anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, she didn't knock her wind out.
She was like chilling. She was like, "What's up?" I was like, "You got that plot armor on. That's good stuff. That's good stuff." Anyway, they're after the watch. What do you think's up with that? The whole 90 seconds to grab the watch. Do you think?
I don't know. It could have to do with Tony, right?
It makes me think of
It
like Tony
could be one
Stark's
of
like
his.
satellites or something. Maybe it's like an Edith
Yeah,
related
yeah.
accessory. That's what it makes me think of,
Mm-hmm.
which is really interesting. Like you would think that would be disabled if it's not within a certain proximity. I don't know, but it's the MacGuffin for some reason. And she meets that dog, which is cute. I don't know what's up with that dog saving the day.
Apparently he has a connection in the comics.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The story that they're telling isn't directly.
Yeah, it's not a
named.
direct adaptation, right?
But
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
inspired by.
Mhm.
Okay, well that's interesting. She's got a pretty sick apartment. You know, she's a rich girl, so we understandably see why. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And then by the end of this episode, I think it's up in flames, right? They're like, Hawkeye is like, they no, that's episode 2, isn't it? Yeah, I'm
The
all
end
over
of the
place.
first one.
No, the end of the first one, she saves the
It
dog.
ends. Yeah. It ends in Hawkeye capturing her.
Yeah, and like barely saving her from the
revealing.
what are they called? The street. What's the street chain mafia, something like that.
The Russian something.
No, dude, it has a goofy name. I need to know.
Yeah.
It's like
Street Jacket Mafia.
the street jacket mafia.
Street sweatsuit.
The sweat.
Something like that.
Something like that. Whatever. It's the tracksuit mafia.
Tracksuit.
The tracksuit mafia. Okay, let's get into episode 2. We're rolling into it. They're the same thing basically. Okay, so like they're still getting over all that, right? So Barton takes her back to like her apartment, right? And he's like basically questioning her. She's like kind of fangirling a little bit about Hawkeye being in her apartment. Obviously, he's like one of her idols, if not the biggest one. And the tracksuit mafia basically tracks her down, like easily peasy, no squeeze, lemon squeezy and all that. Another device, which we get to later, which is really interesting, is that her mother is the head of some sort of security firm or company.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like Big Brother stuff going on. She has this girl, this 22-year-old girl, has access to like tracking people's phones and stuff, and like all kinds of tech. I'm like, okay, that's definitely an upper hand. That makes her pretty useful. There's all kinds of like quips and stuff that work here. I like how he was like, I don't know, he compared her to something, and he was it a bag of potatoes or something? He's like, at least that's useful. And she's like, I'm useful.
Oh, money?
Yeah, money, a bag of money. Yeah,
a bag of
money.
money.
Bag of money is useful. That was awesome. I do like how they're also really grounding him. Like whenever they're trying to clean up and stuff, and they end up going to the convenience store, and like there's no safe house, there's no ties to the Avengers. I like how they address all that, because I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't he just call like I mean, not Tony, he's dead, but like anyone in that world, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because he's trying to stay real low key and just
what is Fury doing?
Yeah, what's up with that? I mean, I think he's out in space right now.
Right, yeah.
But still, like, he's got contacts. There's no way you can't hit up anybody for help, right? Why does he have to Lone Ranger it?
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to tie in Yelena from Black Widow.
They are?
Later on.
Oh, she okay.
But yeah, I wonder how much they're gonna allude to his connections with the Avengers.
I'm interested to see that too.
Like, is he even still on that roster?
That's what I want to say. Is like that's a huge lingering question, because he seems like he's really reluctant. Like he's not trying to be here. He's trying to enjoy the time with his family.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't say he's retired, but it's that feeling. Like he's like, I'm not trying to be here. Like I'm just
and
trying to clean up my mess.
And he definitely doesn't like the praise of it.
Nah, like he didn't even want to pay for that meal with his kids.
Or he did rather.
Rather he did. Sorry,
and he didn't want to take the
free meal. Yeah, exactly. You're right. So anyway, but like he's very like humble, and he's like he doesn't want to be looked at. And you know what's crazy is that not as many people fangirled over him as I thought he would, especially when he found out about the NYC LARPers, because he put 2 and 2 together, and he figured that's where the costume had to go from the firefighters. And he even looked it up on social, and some guy had it. I was like, is that just some random person? Can anyone buy these suits? But no, it was one of the firefighters. I was like, oh, okay, nice. Yeah, they weren't too like phased to see him, and then that guy was cool. Was it Chains was his name?
Oh no, it was
Grills. It was
Grills.
What a weird name. I was like, okay, cool. I mean, maybe he just likes to hang out and grill, Big A. Maybe that's why they call him Grills.
You know, in the comics, that's actually what it was.
Of course,
I'm pretty sure.
Of course, that's what it is. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know we're jumping around a lot, but it's basically like the whole episode is Hawkeye trying to clean up his mess, and then also I really like how Kate is like really investigating everything, because one of the things she saw was Armand's dead body. I think it was like the end of last episode before she got out to meet with Clint and all the other
right. It was then, and then she had gone to go fence stuff up.
Exactly, and I think it was either before or after the fencing. He offered her one of those same butterscotches. Right?
Yeah, it was after the fencing.
It was after the fencing, and she was like, "Oh hell no!" Like that's way too sus. And she is like grilling this guy. I love it. She's like, "I don't trust him," and I'm like, rightfully so. And then that really really neat scene after the fencing where like she attacks him, and he's just like ready to parry that, and then like the little sword goes spinning. I'm like, she's like, come on now, like what? So yeah, he's definitely up to something. He's up to no good, Big Apple. But what I want to know is why the connection with the mom. Is it genuine, or is he planning to use her security firm or whatever to like advance his goals? I assume it's that, right?
Probably,
probably.
but I wonder if he is maybe the main villain, or if
The associate too.
yeah, the associate of some sort.
If he's not the main villain, I feel like he's working hand in hand with that. I guess that woman we saw at the end of episode 2. Right?
Yeah.
Like if they are connected, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
if they
like,
are.
who is she? What's her role? I have no idea. Do you have any leads, or do you know, or is it a spoiler?
Her name's supposed to be Echo. I think they're actually already planning a series on her,
Oh,
a
okay.
spinoff.
Okay.
Um,
So she's not a one-off villain, is what I'm hearing.
no, I
So
don't
that
think
doesn't
so.
make that doesn't instill
Yeah, but
confidence.
but I'm not even sure if she's necessarily the villain.
The big
either.
bad. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't like that. Doesn't make me think she's the big bad. Then you know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
coming later, probably episode 3 or 4. You know, we'll get a hint at that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, really weird. There's a lot going on in
Mhm.
general in this show. But that was the biggest thing, that tease at the end, like how much is Echo gonna play into the future of this series, and then where to go from there.
Yeah.
I do like all the small moments too. The character moments. She's like, he's like, only call if it's an emergency, and she's all like texting him and blowing up his phone and stuff.
Yeah.
How do you how much do you think law enforcement's gonna play into this? Because it's true, she's like young and like her whole place is in flames, and like the NYPD seems like they're on her, one of the investigators or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think how much do you think they know, or are they just trying to tie 2 and 2 together?
In what do you?
Well, like
do they
basically,
know?
how much of a presence do you think they're gonna be in the rest of the series? Like, are they gonna really
Oh.
stop her from being a vigilante, or?
I think no. I don't know that they would. I mean, she would have to sign the accords, wouldn't she?
Oh, damn! Is that
Yeah.
still in play?
I think it is.
Oh,
right?
snap, crackle, and pop, big Ed.
Because all the governments are like coming down on
cracking down on
everybody
those heroes. Yeah.
now that the other half of the population is back.
Damn, that's a good question. Maybe that's what will spawn her to be a young Avenger eventually. Is that she needs to go
Yeah.
legit. She can't be like a vigilante. She needs to be watched by.
Yeah, it's interesting
body.
because Falcon and the Winter Soldier were like delving into all the ramifications of the blip
Right.
and like the Accords and
Mhm.
that. It's interesting that they haven't really touched on that, and I wonder if they will at all.
I'm also intrigued to know because it's connected, but it's like I feel like we need to have the blip shoved in our face for at least a few more years.
Yeah, because it's still a little muddy how much it's actually affecting.
Yeah, because like everyone seems more or less back to normal in NYC, like on the streets.
Yeah.
You don't see people like holding up signs like, "Rah." These
Right.
people, I don't know, these new people that blip back in, they don't belong here. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I
Like,
think,
it's been some time, but still.
but still, yeah, you would think
people
there's
still
lingering
have the-
effects. There's
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
lot.
exactly.
I mean, like half the world came back, so that's a lot to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, so it's all very interesting. I really like the scene of him like being forced to do the role playing stuff. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
And like he's just like all effortlessly, just like that was so stupid, but I loved it. But that's him in a nutshell. This entire series is like reluctantly going along with everything that has to happen.
Yeah. I like that they keep in touch with that sort of not taking him too seriously.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
like that because I didn't know how like grumpy and grunty he was gonna be this entire show. That's why I was like, like
Yeah.
So it's a delicate balance with him because she was even calling out his branding. That was a little meta too. She was just like,
It was.
no one wants that anymore. Like that grumpy secluded,
Right.
recluse,
Yeah, and
he's-
now Hunger Games is part of the
the MCU.
MCU.
Katniss, baby. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, he gets the suit back one way or another. Oh yeah, by letting him beat him in that trial by combat. That was awesome. He's like, they didn't drink the potion. He didn't drink the potion. But yeah, he defeats the nerds and wins the running suit back. So that's cute. He's a little victory chat with his wife. But my last little tidbit of this episode that's really cool, or not really cool, but it's funny, is the Tracksuit Mafia and their bros, their constant use of bros. And they're like,
Yeah.
they're all like talking about the logistics of the warehouse. And he's like, I couldn't have the old one because the old one's being turned into a loft. It's like, how do you do grimy 80s crime furniture if it's like it's not that time anymore? It's all about gentrification and
Right. Yeah.
making everything look new and cute. That's cute. So that was hilarious. He's like, I want to speak to your manager. And like he pulled a very Black Widow thing, like at the end of I think it was in Avengers, like where the ties are no problem.
Oh yeah, they
And
weren't
he's
even.
just like, yeah, I'm not. You guys aren't a threat.
Yeah, it's funny how even he wasn't taking them that
Seriously, that was funny. Yeah.
Whereas like he's usually the one that's getting not taken seriously.
Yeah. Exactly. They're hilarious, and I love it. I like their the tightrope they walk there with the comedy and the drama. So
yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's a great first two episodes. I'm reading here that Echo is a deaf indigenous superhero in the comics, and she's the adoptive daughter of Wilson, aka the Kingpin.
Oh right, yeah,
So
I heard.
That's very.
People are thinking that he might show up.
Yeah, people are thinking he's gonna come back. So
especially with the multiverse.
Yeah, and I want to know how they're gonna handle that. Are they gonna shove him in this season, or are they gonna allude to him and then let Spider-Man No Way Home take care of all the multiverse crap? And then bring him in on and like Echo's show or some later property down the line. You know what I mean? Is Echo getting a show? Is that what you were saying earlier?
Yeah, Echo. I believe they're working on.
Man, they're working on a billion shows. I love it.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I wanted to compliment too is that I'm glad we didn't get some sort of Hawkeye movie and then instead we got this because I do really think the miniseries does wonders to forward like multiple characters forward. You know what I mean? Like as far as development goes, and like not just trying to shove a bunch of ha-has in like an hour 30.
Yeah.
Or even 2 hours. You know what I mean? This is like 6 hours. You know, a little under whatever of like storytelling, so it's cool.
Right.
But overall, I'm actually really pleased with this. Like I said, I wasn't really looking forward to it for whatever reason, and I like this little like rebranding they're doing here. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's interesting because it almost feels like you're jumping right back into the MCU.
Yeah.
Whereas like with some of the other series, while they still have that MCU feel, they have like a slightly different tone to them.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's kind of like right at home.
And I like that about it. I mean, the Christmas flavor helps, but I do like that it feels more grounded in general. Like, because Hawkeye's always kind of felt like the grounded odd guy out. Like, I'm just a regular dude, so to speak, with a bunch of crazy superheroes. I mean, he's always called that out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I really like that they're playing into that, and it's working well for me. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So on that note, I guess we'll wrap it up here for today, and next week we'll get into some more shenanigans. How about that, Big A?
Sounds good.
All right, for Midi Munchers, I'm Mathian.
And I'm Adrian.
And we'll catch you next time.